Hello. Before I start, I'd like to just take another moment to appreciate the music today. It was so moving. And I appreciate getting to celebrate Lunar New Year with you today. In this time of transition, especially a transition occurring alongside so much in the world that's painful and scary and hard to live with, I'm grateful to get to speak today about a concept I really love: faith. What is faith? I'd like to look at this word, faith, to explore broadening the concept and making it more accessible in a time when many people, not only the religious and spiritual, could be supported by it. I believe a more accessible faith is important because it can guide people through the hardships with perseverance and integrity. I remember when I decided to quit my job at 25, move out of my apartment, sell my car, and go live at a Zen Buddhist monastery. My parents wanted to understand why I was doing this. So I tried to explain it to them. I tried to say that I was following my faith. And both my parents responded immediately with great concern and fear. So I realized the word faith had triggered anxiety and doubt in them. I changed my technique. I explained how I had been feeling more depressed in my old path, how my heart had felt something kind of just missing, and how when I thought about this new path, my heart and mood and energy soared. I told them my values and my gut were guiding me to it, and I trusted that guidance enough to take a risk, even though I knew it was a big risk. And this response was much more palatable to them. The word faith just wasn't able to convey what it meant to me, to them, with such a big decision. And that was hard because it felt like, for me, the most appropriate word to describe what I was feeling. I've noticed as I have brought up the word faith in conversations that many people assume faith must always be religious or spiritual, or that faith must be connected to a theistic belief system. This feels important to honor, for it means when I communicate using the word faith, it may often carry a meaning which I may not mean to transmit at all. Still, I don't want to give up on that word. I feel called to use the word faith with others, not to just replace it completely with words like knowing or trusting or feeling confident about. I want to include those nuances of the word faith, and I want to be honest about what faith is for me. I want to let people know that in my perspective and beliefs, faith can be powerful without any religious or spiritual or God connotation. It feels important to me for faith to be accessible. So when approaching the question, what does it mean to practice faith? It's a more accessible kind of faith that I want to explore. I believe that faith is not only a part of all spiritual and religious beliefs, but it is a part of believing in general. I'll admit that I came into awareness of faith in a rather spiritual way, but I still don't think faith has to be spiritual. Before that awareness of faith's role in my life, I had a deep trust, which I didn't call faith at the time, in things like kindness and love and compassion and truth. I put my trust in and acted in alignment with these things despite having uncertainties about them, about how they guide me. It was a radical kind of trust that felt resistant to degradation. It had grit and it had sustainability. And it didn't mean I was closed off from challenges to that trust. It felt open, like I was willing to have that trust risked to learn from experience and to let that trust transform. Its power gave me space to respect and open to that which contradicted my beliefs. And I would call that kind of faith, that kind of radical trust, faith. According to the Cambridge Dictionary, the primary definition of faith is great trust or confidence in something or someone. And following this, there are definitions that include a God-centered focus. But I think it's important that the very first listed definition is not religious, spiritual, or God-focused at all. Great trust or confidence in something or someone. That sounds like something to which everyone can relate. Now, I do not think faith or great trust is easy. It takes a lot of courage to give it. Also, I think we can use it unhealthily. Faith is risky. I have a dear friend whose great trust in a spiritual teacher led to such great disappointment that his faith in spiritual practice greatly collapsed for a time. My friend put intense trust in his spiritual teacher. His faith in the spiritual teachings became mixed up with his faith in this teacher. And when the teacher's imperfections and mistakes let my friend down, he became greatly disillusioned. His anger at the teacher became anger at spirituality in general, as well as anger at himself. He's strong, and he was able to overcome this anger in time, but it was a really painful experience. We must be extremely careful with how we invest our radical trust. Perhaps there are very few things in our lives to which we can give this kind of trust healthily. And when we do give this kind of trust, it needs to be living and growing, dynamic and conversational, like a relationship. Or I fear it will shatter when objects do what all objects do and change. Healthy faith is special because it's so rare, because it's alive, and I think that makes it really precious. Despite the risks, I feel that faith is often necessary in our lives. It's a part of what gets us through. It keeps us going. It can be an anchor when the storms of doubt and sudden change are threatening to unmoor us. Most of us grow up trusting and depending on others to make it safely to an age of self-sufficiency. We find security by putting great trust or confidence into caregivers and systems of support. We take comfort from and rely on faith from an early age. Sometimes that faith from our youth ends up really hurting us. It can be devastating when it goes awry. It makes sense that we'd have complicated feelings about faith. Faith broken, along with the hope and trust inside of it, can bring such intense disappointment that we may enter despair. Because of the severity of pain, it can bring radical trust can become intolerable. It makes sense that many would feel allergic to the notion of faith. But the depths of pain possible with faith are also marks of the potential benefits. The disappointment when hopes are dashed is painful because it's the loss of comfort, peace, and satisfaction instilled by those hopes. So, should we give up on trust and hope? I don't think it's about eradicating hope to feel safe from disappointment. This method is just too extreme. This is like avoiding friendship to take away the sting away from loneliness. No, instead, I think we must hold hope and disappointment together. There's a distinct beauty to investing in hope despite the turbulence of life and the knowledge of hope's temporality. It is something transcending the duality of hope and despair when we invest in hope while simultaneously knowing it will fall short, it will end, and we will have to face pain. I believe faith can be a force that transcends that duality. It can invite us into the fullness of life. Faith enables me to foster hope without over-reliance upon my expectations of how the seed will fruit and blossom. Faith is a response to the uncomfortable tension between ideals and fears that does not give up on either side of the tension. I believe faith is a healthy, practicable, and accessible response to a life of constant change and hope's resultant fallibility. Faith holds hope holistically. When faith is lived and practiced, it is more than just a mental exercise. It's holistic in its manifestations. My favorite thing about faith is what it does to our actions. Zen monastic practice was an amazing gift. It afforded me the chance to clarify my faith, connecting with my deepest trusts and the depths that come from spiritual retreat, revealed in me a call to action. I loved living in monastic community, but because of this calling, I decided to leave in order to better act out my faith. I found the values that I most deeply trusted yearning to be embodied in work meant to counter injustice and empower love. Although it was difficult, I am very glad I left the monastery because embodiment of my faith has given me an unparalleled sense of fulfillment. When we commit to act by our faith, we live out our radical trusts towards a profound self-fulfillment. We embody a holistic integration as our relationship to the many finds alignment with our concentration on a purpose. Faith can also be radical trust in the non-rational, deep and organic wisdom that is in all of us. Audre Lorde, American writer, womanist, professor, and activist, addresses women about this kind of trust, saying, "As women, we have come to distrust that power which rises from our deepest and non-rational knowledge. We have been warned against it all our lives by the male world, which values this depth of feeling enough to keep women around in order to exercise it in the service of men, but which fears this same depth too much to examine the possibilities of it within themselves. I deeply lament the way men, persons with my identity, have consistently formed the body of dominating groups that promoted such intense self-distrust. Self-distrust protects large-scale oppression because it guards against dissolving exploitative and harmful injustices. I lament my part in that. And I think all of us have to work together to undo this distrust if we want to find individual and collective harmony. I believe finding trust for our deepest organic wisdoms is one of the most important acts for countering injustice and freeing our collective selves. The power of faith in one's own organic wisdom is the power to find a transcendent guidance system that is always with you. It is the power to check the suggestions of others against an anchoring wisdom, so we are less likely to be deluded by the expressions of others' greed and hatred. It can protect us from succumbing to the almost irresistible seduction of popular opinion and groupthink. It can help us trust our hearts despite the mechanisms of fear conditioned into our thoughts and beliefs that may tell us that trusting our own radical wisdom is unproductive and unsafe. Faith, this great trust and confidence, is especially beautiful to me when given to one's own heart. This is something hard to describe, but beautiful to feel. To me, faith in the guidance of the heart is one of the most sacred paths and one of the most accessible methods of finding the way through the mystery of life. In the words of Quique Pinto in his song Mi Corazón, muy adentro de mi pecho, el misterio de la vida, mi corazón, es una voz escondida entonando una canción, es una luz encendida, por rumbos desconocidos, mis pasos tú vas guiando, En medio de mil peligros, entonando una canción, vasallando mi camino, mi corazón. Translated into English, the message is, deep inside my chest, the mystery of life, my heart. It's a hidden voice singing a song. It's a hidden light. You guide my steps on a course unknown. Amidst 1,000 dangers, you find the way, singing all the while, my heart. The power of the heart's guidance is a mystery that defies logic. Following the heart may sound corny, but for some, it is the process that leads out of shallowness to depth, from confusion or hollowness in life to meaning and fulfillment. I encourage you to consider it with open-mindedness. So what is faith? For me, it's a willingness to risk, giving great trust despite complications inherent to that act. It is trying to learn from disappointments as I gently return to being directed by hope for a better world. It is practicing radical trust holistically, especially in my actions. It is resolving and again to trust myself, to trust I have infinite wisdoms in me and that they need not be rational to be respected. It is listening to my heart and watching that process guide me to embody love in the world. While the endeavor to live with faith may be religious, it does not require a religious perspective. It is a practice open to us all. Living out faith is beyond my ability to understand, so I cannot guarantee it is best or right or even good. All I can say is that I have great faith in that practice. I pray and hope it brings nourishment, love, and peace. Thank you.